The sun bled crimson across the Texas horizon, painting the ranch in hues of fire and loss. Jake Thornton, a millionaire cowboy with a heart as vast as his cattle empire, stood alone on his porch, staring at the endless plains. At 42, he'd built a fortune from sweat and grit, but wealth couldn't fill the hollow ache in his chest. 3 women, Amelia, Clara, and Lila, had once shared his life, each a co-wife in a rare, unconventional marriage born of love and mutual dreams. But one by one, they'd left, or so he thought, abandoned by their own despair after doctors delivered the same crushing verdict: infertility. Unbeknownst to Jake, one of them still lingered in the shadows of his world, and his choice to bring her back would unravel secrets, heal wounds, and redefine what family could mean. Jake's ranch, sprawling over 10,000 acres, was a monument to his ambition. He'd inherited a modest plot from his father, a hard man who believed love was a luxury for fools. Jake proved him wrong, or so he thought, when he met Amelia at a county fair, her laughter like a melody he couldn't forget. She was a schoolteacher with eyes that held stories of resilience. Then came Clara, a fiery veterinarian who could calm a spooked horse with a whisper, her strength a perfect counterpoint to Amelia's gentleness. Lila, the last to join, was a painter, her canvases bursting with colors that mirrored her wild spirit. Their arrangement wasn't conventional, but in the vastness of Texas, where rules bent under the weight of open skies, they built a life together. They shared meals, dreams, and a bed big enough for 4. Their love a tapestry of compromise and devotion. The dream began to fray when the question of children arose. Jake, raised in a family that prized legacy, longed for a child to carry on the Thornton name. Amelia, Clara, and Lila each wanted to give him that gift, but years passed, and hope withered. Doctors confirmed their fears, none of the women could conceive. The word infertile landed like a death sentence, each diagnosis a blow to their shared vision. Amelia withdrew, her laughter replaced by silence. Clara threw herself into her work, avoiding Jake's gaze. Lila's paintings grew darker, streaks of black swallowing her vibrant hues. One by one, they left, leaving notes that spoke of shame and inadequacy. Jake, heartbroken, believed they'd chosen freedom over a life tethered to his unfulfilled dream. The first challenge was Jake's loneliness. The ranch, once alive with their voices, became a mausoleum of memories. He threw himself into work, buying more land, breeding prize-winning cattle, but success tasted like ash. Nights were the worst, when the silence pressed against him, and he wondered if he'd driven them away with his unspoken expectations. He hired hands to keep the ranch running, but none filled the void. His wealth grew, but his heart shrank, and he began to question whether love was worth the pain it left behind. Months later, a letter arrived, postmarked from a small town 50 miles away. It was from Lila, the painter, her handwriting shaky but unmistakable. She hadn't left to escape him, she wrote, but to protect him from her own despair. She'd been living in a rundown motel, painting murals for a local diner to survive. The letter revealed a secret: she'd been pregnant once, years ago, but miscarried before she could tell Jake. The loss had broken her, convincing her she was unworthy of his love. She'd stayed close, watching from afar, hoping he'd find happiness without her. The revelation hit Jake like a stampede. He hadn't known. He hadn't understood. Driven by guilt and longing, Jake tracked down Amelia and Clara. Amelia was teaching in a one-room schoolhouse in Oklahoma, her warmth undimmed but her eyes shadowed. She confessed she'd left because she felt like a failure, unable to give Jake the family he deserved. Clara, working at a horse rescue in Colorado, admitted she'd buried her pain in work, believing Jake would be better off without her. Each woman carried the same wound, the belief that their infertility made them less, that their love wasn't enough. Jake listened, his heart cracking open, realizing he'd failed them by not seeing their pain. The second challenge was rebuilding trust. Jake invited them back to the ranch, not as wives, but as equals, to confront their shared past. The reunion was tense, each woman wary, their old harmony fractured. Amelia's quiet strength clashed with Clara's guarded defiance, and Lila's nervous energy made every conversation feel like walking on glass. Jake admitted his own failures. He'd let his dream of a child overshadow their love, making them feel like they'd fallen short. He proposed a new start, not as a family defined by children, but one bound by choice and forgiveness. The women hesitated, their scars still raw, but agreed to stay for a month, testing the waters. The third challenge was external judgment. The small town nearby buzzed with gossip about the cowboy and his harem. Old wounds reopened as neighbors whispered, questioning their unconventional bond. Clara, fiercely independent, wanted to confront the town, but Amelia urged patience, knowing judgment often stemmed from ignorance. Lila, inspired by their courage, painted a mural on the ranch's barn, a vibrant depiction of four figures under a boundless sky, a testament to their resilience. The mural became a local talking point, shifting some opinions, but the deeper battle was within. Each woman grappled with self-doubt, wondering if they could reclaim a love they'd thought lost. Over weeks, the ranch came alive again. Clara tended the horses, her hands steady but her heart opening. Amelia organized community reading nights, her voice weaving stories that drew neighbors in. Lila's paintings filled the house, each canvas a step toward healing. Jake, learning from his past, listened more than he spoke, letting their voices guide their future. They faced practical challenges too, dividing chores, navigating old jealousies, but resolved them through honest talks by the fire, where tears and laughter mingled. The final challenge was Jake's choice. He'd learned Lila was still in love with him, her letter a quiet plea for a second chance. But choosing her meant risking the fragile balance they'd rebuilt. Jake wrestled with his heart, knowing a romantic choice could alienate Amelia and Clara. In a moment of clarity under the same crimson sky where the story began, he realized love didn't have to mean possession. He chose Lila not as a wife above the others, but as a partner in a new kind of family, one where all four could coexist, not as co-wives, but as chosen kin. He proposed they stay, not bound by marriage, but by a shared commitment to the ranch and each other. Amelia and Clara, moved by his honesty, agreed, each finding peace in their own purpose. The story's resolution wasn't a fairy tale ending, but a real one. They faced setbacks, gossip persisted, and old insecurities flared, but they built something stronger than before. The ranch became a haven, not just for them, but for others seeking refuge. Amelia started a program for foster children, giving them the love she'd once thought only a biological child could carry. Clara's horse rescue grew, offering second chances to animals and people alike. Lila's art inspired a local gallery, her story of loss and redemption touching hearts. Jake, no longer chasing a legacy, found joy in the family they'd created, one defined by choice, not convention. As the sun set on the ranch, now a beacon of hope, Jake stood with Amelia, Clara, and Lila, watching foster children play in the fields. The ache in his chest was gone, replaced by a warmth that wealth could never buy. Their story, born of pain and rebuilt through courage, left a message for anyone listening. Family isn't defined by blood or tradition, but by the love you choose to fight for, even when the world says it's impossible.